And welcome to the Movin'On Startup Challenge 2020. And I'll be your host for today's ceremony. Now, if it looks and feels a bit different than previous years, it's because this year we cannot gather thousands of people in Montreal as we have in the. We could have simply abandoned this whole operation. We could have just moved on. But we decided instead that this would not do justice to our community of startups, and this would not do justice to the planet, which desperately needs new sustainable technologies. That's why we followed our own motto of Movin'On. We therefore put in place the first digital final edition of Movin'On Startup Challenge. So just like previous years, over the next 2 hours, you will see the startups pitching, you will know who won, and you will hear from some of the visionaries in sustainable clean mobility from wherever they are around the world. But this year is going to be very different than the previous. It's going to be the most sustainable, because it's digital and it's decentralized. So this year, you get to ask the questions. You, the viewers, you get to vote after each pitch. So whether you're watching us from San Francisco or from New Zealand, anywhere in between, this year you are part of the show. So there are plenty of surprises coming up for the next 2 hours. Please bear with us. This is a complicated operation. As I said, people will come in from every continent live, the judges, the experts, the startups. So if something goes wrong, we will just take a deep breath and we're moving on. At this point, I'd like to invite my partner in crime, Anne-Sophie Jarry, the brain and hands behind Thisyear's mission. Can you hear me, Anne-Sophie?
Hello, Dan. Yes, we have got some little trouble to hear you, but so far so good.
Okay, I also hear some echo. We are experimenting here. I'm in Berlin. Where are you?
We are in Clermont-Ferrand with all the technical teams and some members of the jury. So we are very happy to be here, all in the starting blocks and ready to go.
Okay, lost you for a second, but I think we're there now. So as you see, we are scattered around the world, but let's get an idea of where the viewers are right now. So if you're watching us on social media or on YouTube, there's a more active way in which you can join this session and really take part. So I invite you to go to www.movingonconnect.com. And then if you scroll down and you'll see on the right, join the live, you will see this video embedded in, and on the right, you will have 2 columns, Q&A. We will use the Q&A later on for you to ask questions to each of the startups, and we will use the polls in order for you to vote. But we will also play with it a little bit. So right now, let me ask you, where are you watching us from? And let's see if we can get some answers on the screen. Oh, I see lots and lots of answers. There's Quebec and Munich, and what else do we have there? Iceland, Namibia. So we are being watched. That's good news. And Anne-Sophie, if you allow me, I'd like to invite at this point to briefly introduce what we're doing here. To Nicolas Beaumont, who is a spokesperson of Movin'On. So Nicolas, bonjour. Can you hear me as well?
Yes, bonjour, Dan. At Movin'On.
Okay, it was very different for you than previous years on stage. So maybe you can tell us how this year's edition is going to bring us from ambition to action?
Yes, for sure, Dan. At Movin'On, we share a common vision. We are all convinced that the world of tomorrow will not be a world with less mobility, but with more sustainable mobility. A safer, greener, more accessible and more efficient mobility. And this is why Movin'On exists. Created and inspired by Michelin in 2017, Movin'On brings together a broad and active ecosystem of large companies, startups, cities, civil societies, NGOs, countries, and international organizations to build together tomorrow's mobility. Movin'On aims at providing concrete solutions and innovations for everyone's mobility needs, with the aim of contributing to the progress of society while acting for the planet. So Dan, as you know, innovation is key in this context. The commitment that we make to support startups that are at the initiative of innovative solutions and move from ambition to action is completely in Movin'On's DNA. The Startup Challenge you're going to attend today is a way to identify and recognize the solutions of the future and contribute to help them to accelerate the go-to-market. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Nicolas. So I see your expectations are very high. And as you can see, we're also asking the viewers. And I see that the audience also has quite high expectations from today. Surprises and inspiration and innovation. So you're all expecting a lot from us today, and we will do our best to deliver on that. Now, let's say just a quick word about the startups that have made a long journey to reach this point of the finals. They started off as 326 startups. They came from 61 different countries. Now, there's only 10 of them who made it to the finals. 3 women and 7 men. Hopefully next year it will be the opposite. So let me quickly say hello, or guten tag, good day, bonjour, walalapo, shalom, akakaba, or bon dia. I don't speak all these languages, but I'm trying because they come from a lot of different countries. They are now located each in the US, Germany, Australia, France, Canada, Namibia, Israel, Singapore, and Brazil. And they will come in live in a few minutes. So these are the 10 finalists, and maybe we can get a glimpse idea of who they are in this short video. We might have a sound problem with this video, which I'm sure our studio is solving. But this still gives you an idea of the different startups that are one after the other. And I'm sure that as we're watching this video, the studio will quickly solve this problem. Meanwhile, let me also say a quick word about our very esteemed jury who helped us select the startups from the entire 326 to the 10 that we have here today. I'll go over them quickly. There's all 20 of them. So thank you to François-William Croteau from the city of Montreal, Pierre Delegue from Vinci, Marcus Goddard from NetExplo, Jean-Michel Guillon from Innovation Michelin, from the Refiners in San Francisco, Elba Fuster from the UNDP, and she's based in Singapore, Jonathan Hall from Cantor, David Johnson, a journalist from Madness, Dorothée Jouillard from BNP Paribas, Stina Lantz from the Ignite Incubator, Geraldine Pinol at Total, Rémi Potet at the Paris Business Angels, Felipe Matos, who's a startup specialist from Brazil, Jean-Marc Peyoul from Allianz, Jean-Michel Reynaud from Engie, Nayeli Rodriguez from the city of Florent Sanson from Car Studio, Mathieu van der Elst, he is with us, Venture Capital Michelin, and Anthony Virapin from Microsoft. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, and I excuse myself for my pronunciation. I don't always even know which country they come from. They're quite a mixed group. But there's also 2 co-presidents of this very esteemed jury, and they're going to join me in a moment now. The co-presidents are Bertrand Picard and Karima Deli. Do I have Bertrand being line with us, Bertrand. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes,
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Great to see you again, Bertrand. And I'd like to, if anybody has not heard of you, you are the founder of Solar Impulse, and you're the first man who went around the world or flew around the world in a solar plane. But I'd like to ask you, why did you join this particular challenge, the Movin'On challenge, as a judge or as the co-president of the jury?
Because today there are a lot of attacks against mobility. People say that mobility is polluting, that it's disturbing the planet, that it's making traffic jams. And we have to show that mobility is an essential right of the people. People want to be able to move. It's associated to freedom. But at the same time, we need all the best innovations in order to make this mobility much more sustainable, much more environmental friendly, much more human friendly also. So I think mobility has to reinvent itself, and this is why such a challenge with a lot of startups and innovators is something absolutely crucial. So I'm really happy to participate. And also the Solar Impulse Foundation is collaborating a lot with the Movin'On and with Michelin to identify these solutions everywhere around the world. So it's a pleasure to continue this partnership together.
Fantastic. So we're not against mobility, we're about reinventing mobility, if I understand it correctly. And I'd like to move to your co-president, Karima Deli. You're the chairwoman, or as I always call you, Wonder Woman, of the Transport Committee in the European Parliament. Hi, Karima. Good to see you virtually again. Where are you now?
I'm in Paris.
Ah, cool. And what are your expectations for today? What are you hoping to get out of this very, I would say, alternative experience that we have here today?
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you today, and thank you for organizing this event. The current crisis, yet another sign of the urgency to address climate change. We need to change the way we move to make it more sustainable, and we need to act now. Transport accounts for 30% of CO2 emission, but I have a good news because solution exists, and I am convinced that startups have a big role to play in finding those solutions, but the mobility sector is often fragmented. That's the reason why we need to put all the stakeholders of the mobility sector together to find collective solutions to make mobility greener, more inclusive and secure. And that is why initiatives such as the Moving Challenge are essential.
Fantastic. Thank you, Karima. So we have the urgency from you and the ambition from Bertrand, and we understand now what you're looking for in the way that you are judging. Anne-Sophie, how are things looking on your side? You're still there? Anne-Sophie, can you join me? Do we have Anne-Sophie to tell us a little bit about the rules? Seems like we have a slight glitch. I was hoping Anne-Sophie about the rules, but otherwise we will do it later on. Anne-Sophie? Okay.
Very simple. The 10 startups.
Sorry, Anne-Sophie, you were cut off. Maybe you can start again.
The startup will compete 2 by 2 in 5 categories, indeed. So we will have preserving resources, we will have designing new global transport efficiency, improving multimodal mobility, ensuring safe and accessible mobility, and combating global warming and air pollution. Each startup will have 2 minutes maximum to pitch its video. Then we will take 1 question from the jury and 1 question from the audience before opening the voting session for each category. Please, smart question, smart answers, everything will go very fast, as you have seen before. So the jury, meanwhile, will judge the startup according to 6 criteria: the creativeness of the video pitch, the enthusiasm and conviction of the startuppers, the disruptiveness and originality of the proposed technology, their ability to convince investors based on their proof of concept and robust business cases. It's very important. And above all, the impact on sustainable mobility and the scalability of the solution. In a word, their ability to move from ambition to action. And you know, Dan, that is the motto from Movin'On. Of course, we will have some bonus points from the audience vote. So be ready for all of you online. Your vote will count. It's very important. And at the end, five startups will emerge as winners. So is it clear for you, Dan? Everybody is ready?
Clear to me. The only thing that remains is how the audience is actually going to vote. So once again, I'm reminding you that if you're on the webpage of movingconnect.com, and if you go to connect to the live, you will see the questions and the polls. Questions will give you the opportunity to ask a question to every startup after they finish, and polls will allow you to vote after two pairs which one was better. So if that's clear, I would suggest we actually start. Our first category is preserving resources. I'm getting now a note that I need to send the audience to also use Slido because we have a problem with the website. Okay. All right. We start now with the first pitch in preserving resources, and the first startup to pitch in that category is Justin Sim from Singapore, and he is the CEO of Global Kick. So please, let's hear about Global Kick.
Hi, I'm Justin from Kick Global. We are a Singapore-based tech company that focuses on innovating in ultracapacitor battery technology for the purpose of building and introducing better-built urban mobility vehicles. We fitted our technology into the vehicles we built today, and they can be fully charged in under 10 minutes. With more than 20,000 charging cycles, the need to replace batteries in EV applications is reduced, alleviating the demanding strain on resources. Working with existing clients, we understand the need for shared vehicles to be redistributed in order to increase utilization. Our kick pods are equipped with urban platooning capabilities to safely string unused vehicles with little manpower, and thus it is also designed for usage in the logistics industry. Space utilization in last-mile logistic vehicles today weighs in at around 30%. With the kick pods platooning function, logistics company can effectively assign platooning vehicles to drivers with more payload requirements whenever needed. Equipped with ADAS technology, self-parking functions is also introduced. The fear of parking is no longer present. With all these technologies, we enable the elderly, parents with kids, and people with disability to enjoy the freedom of traveling. With 3 city licenses granted by the government of Vietnam, we have proven our commercial viability. The world's first ultracapacitor electric urban vehicle designed for sharing. 400 of our existing vehicles have been operating in Vietnam for the last 18 months. Today, our mission and vision have never been clearer. Our ambition has never been greater. We are in our Series A round, and we are looking for government agencies, investors, and partners to join us in our journey. This is my team from across the world, and we are ready to engage world changers. Welcome to Kick. Welcome to our future.
And I'd like to now to Justin, who's joining us from Singapore. Justin, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can, Dan.
Okay, fantastic. What's the weather like in Singapore right now?
It's extremely hot, but it's nighttime right now, so everything is dandy dandy.
So it is in Europe, actually. And the first question that you're going to get on your startup is coming from our jury. And I'd like to invite Felipe Matos from Brazil. Are you there with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone.
So Felipe from Brazil is going to ask the first question to Justin, and please tell us your...
Okay, so Justin, well, first of all, congratulations for the presentation. That was a very creative pitch, by the way.
Thank you.
My question goes on, to be honest with you, I didn't get exactly what Kick is, because it seems to me like a mix of several different services. Is it a battery technology? Is it a fleet of electric vehicles? Is it autonomous cars? It seems to me that it's a mix of all of it, maybe. And at what stage you said that you have more than 400 vehicles running. So at what stage exactly you are in terms of each of the technologies that you've presented?
Right. Okay. So you're right. Okay. A lot of people do get a little bit confused. We are a electric vehicle manufacturer. We have been building vehicles for the shared economy. And the vehicles that we built today, okay, have the technologies of ultracapacitors. For example, this is one of the ultracapacitors that we use. So ultracapacitors allow vehicles to charge really quickly, okay, under 10 minutes. But today we are moving forward into the other fleets of vehicles. As you can see in the video, we do have a 4-wheeled vehicle, which is extremely small, but it fits urban and last mile transportation perfectly. So with it comes with technologies like autonomous tech, platooning technologies, ADAS to actually help you with parking. So all these capabilities and functions help you streamline your travel needs, whether is it for logistics or for commuting. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Felipe and Justin. And I'm turning back to France and Sophie. What are you seeing from the audience's question? Anything interesting that they want to ask us?
Not a lot of questions online. I think we have a trouble with the live feed. Perhaps we can help people to join directly on YouTube and on Slido, slido.com/Movin'On, and maybe it will be easier for you to have a better connection because the live streaming seems to not to work properly.
So let me help you, Sophie, because I see quite some side. Maybe, for example, there's someone who chose to be anonymous who's asking, what are your competitive advantages, Justin? If you allow me, and Sophie, I pick one because I see there are quite a few on my end.
Sure. So competitive advantages today. So we actually look into cross-sectoral platforms. The vehicles that we built today are not just to serve a function, not just to serve the logistic or to serve the moving of the people for commuting. We actually does cross-sectoral. And what we actually do very well is to optimize the efficiency in any vehicles that we build. Having fast charging technologies, we're enabling vehicles to be operating non-stop, round-the-clock, 24 hours a day, which today most of the EV companies are not able to do so. And of course, with platooning and technologies, we're able to do redistribution very well. So one of the major fears that car sharing companies do have today is the inability to actually redistribute vehicles for the other people that requires it in the same location. Because car sharing does a thing very well, which is called migration patterns. They actually move from one place to another place, and there leaves a big void in the previous place. And of course, lastly, with ADAS technology, we are now no longer needing to learn how to park the car. Just drive it by the road, leave it, and it will park by itself. Just imagine a world like that, where you are serving not only the able people, but the elderlies, the mom with kids, and everyone in between. So this is our unfair advantages.
Fantastic, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you very much
for the audience's question, and I'm sure that we will resolve the other technical issues as the and from Singapore. I'd like you to now travel with me digitally to Israel, where we'll be joined by Montreal. One second, Montreal Biton. Alan Montreal, can you see and hear us? Are you online with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so Montreal, before we start the Q&A with you, let's take 2 minutes to see what Avionics does.
Today, there is a big race. Everyone is trying to improve batteries. But the battery structure didn't change in the last 30 years. We invented a novel manufacturing patent-protected process to produce smart 3D architecture. By moving to smart 3D architecture, we can increase the battery performance dramatically. We can improve the charging time, the range, and the lifetime of a battery without any negative effect on the safety or the cost of the battery. While most of the battery companies focus on the chemistry of the battery, we focus on the physics. This allows us to dramatically improve any type of battery chemistry in the market. Moreover, our solution is a drop-in solution and can integrate into any production lines. With AI optimization software coupled with our novel manufacturing process, we improve battery performance to build and to design the best battery architecture in the market. This is applicable to the automotive market, but not only. Other products can be beneficial and use our technology. Our vision is to see our solution in every battery in the world. The world is on the verge of the electrification revolution, where we will see the dominance of batteries all around us. Avionics makes this mass-scale energy shift dramatically more efficient, safer, and greener to create a more sustainable future for all of us.
So hi again, Montreal from Israel, and you're lucky enough to get a question from the co-president of our jury. I understand you would like to address Montreal about his startup. Before you do, if you allow me only, those asking questions on Slido, it would be useful if you put the name of the startup you're addressing at the beginning of the question. It would help us get rid of the old ones so that we only look at the relevant ones for that particular startup. So if you ask a question now to Montreal, just put Edionics and your question. It'll be easier for us to process it very quickly. Bertrand, are you with us? Can you ask your question?
Yes, I'm here. When I see the description of your innovation, it looks like a miracle. You increase the time to charge, you have a fast charging possibility, you increase the lifetime of the battery, you increase the capacity. It's like your battery will be a revolution for the entire mobility. So I have two questions actually. The first one is, how does this impact the life cycle? It means the ecological part. Is it something that will be more damageable for the environment or not?
Hi, thanks for the question. So the opposite, it's going to be environmental friendly and impact positively on the environment. Our structure and unique structures can actually increase the lifetime of the battery. And the fact that we can increase the capacity of the battery, it means that we need less batteries, and those batteries can actually run for a longer time. So it means we need less battery to recycle, and also our structure can accommodate and be relevant for future materials, more environmental friendly materials. We are battery agnostic. We can incorporate any type of chemistry, and some emerging technologies that we see that are going to be relevant in the market, the fact that they are not commercialized yet because they suffer from several limitations as conductivity and mechanical problems. Our structure, we managed to prove that we can reduce the internal resistance and improve the conductivity at least by 50% improvement. This is allow us to integrate less conductive material, but more environmental friendly material. Also, material which can actually expand and have poor mechanical properties, our structure can accommodate those stresses and prevent the elimination and separation of the parts inside the battery. So we have very good control on the cell level from mechanical point of view, thermal point of view, and electrical point of view. So all of that, we're going to increase the lifetime and the other advantages.
So you heard that noise, Montreal. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's the gong, that means that you've gone for 1.5 minutes. And that brings us to the audiences. So sorry for being abrupt, but we have to keep a very tight schedule. Anne-Sophie, are you seeing anything interesting coming from our audience?
Yes, a lot of questions about the business model for you, Montreal. So can you explain us? And I will take the question from Thierry from France. Do you sell your batteries or the patent to battery manufacturers? And if your business model is something, if so, can you detail how you expect to get to the market? Can you please answer these two questions, Montreal?
Sure. So right now we are working directly with the end user. So we are building cells as a proof of concept for the end customers. We're working with automakers, but not only. Our solution is beneficial and applicable to all type of battery, and this is our vision, to integrate this solution in all type of batteries. Later on, right now, we're using a fabless model. So we are working with the battery manufacturers that build the cells for us. According to our requirements, we are sending the material, the structures, and the assembly and the production of materials done by conventional manufacturing process. After that, we are validating the technology with the end user, and later on, the goal and the vision is to integrate our solution with battery manufacturer and to join joint ventures and partnership with those battery manufacturers.
Okay, thank you, Montreal. I understand that there are many questions coming in, so we might see if we can get back to it later. But at this point, the rules are strict. We have to move on to actually my favorite part, which means that the audience will get to vote. As you heard earlier, this will be calculated into the jury. See what the audience is voting back home, and they will take it into consideration for the winners. So now I'd like to invite you to vote between the two that you just heard from. The vote will remain open for the next few minutes. While you hear the next startups, you can still go on voting. So this is not the final result, but go on, do vote. And with that in mind, I'd like us to switch to the next, or transition to the next category, which is global transport efficiency. And here, the first startup which is going to present is coming all the way from down under, from Australia. And we have Carola Jones representing Everty as the CEO. Let's take a moment to see what Everty does.
Driving an electric car is different to a petrol car. We want to charge our cars wherever we can, at home, at work, at the shopping center, or any other public space. The market for EVs is really large. In Europe, there will be more than 15 million car chargers deployed by 2030. And over half of all car sales will be electric by 2040. And today, we're at the Sydney headquarter of Schneider Electric, and we're using their workplace charger. And I'll show you how that works. So you simply go and plug your car in, and then you use the app. We've got the charger here. You press start, and we start charging. Success! We're really happy that we're in the Movin'On challenge because we're ready to go into other markets. We want to scale up and expand internationally. For that, we're currently raising capital. We've got a great team. We've got Dean, our lead software developer, Alison, our IT architecture and security expert, and Ravi, our product manager. I'm Carola, the CEO and founder, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Okay, hello, Carola. Can you hear me? What time is it down in Australia now? Are we waking you up in the middle of the night?
Not quite. 10:30 at night.
Okay, reasonable.
Greetings from Sydney.
Okay, greetings back. So your question will come from our member of the jury, Stine Lantz from the Ignite Incubator.
Hi, Carola.
Are you also connected with us?
I hope so. It's an echo, though.
Where are you, by the way?
I am actually 1 hour outside Stockholm in the archipelago.
Okay, so we're really well scattered. What is your question, Stina?
Yes, so thank you for a great presentation, Carola. As I understand it, it seems that you're aiming for quite a center spot in an already a little bit crowded charging ecosystem, connecting your software to the leading charging station manufacturers, installing chargers, as I understood that you also do, providing payment solutions and grid optimizations for the ones buying your services, like estate owners and municipalities and cities and so on. And on top of that, an app for the EV car driver. I hope that I got the scope. So it's quite a full-scale solution here. So my question is, who would you say would be the most important customer in this ecosystem? And what are the most important aspects of your business model? And how will you scale it now entering new markets?
Yeah, great.
So you have a difficult question. You have 1.5 minutes to answer. So think about the way you want to phrase your question, your answer.
Awesome. So our core customers are businesses that want to install charging stations, because the lack of charging stations, we have to go really broad. It will be fragmented. You see chargers everywhere in shopping centers, corporate fleets. And it's really, we're building an ecosystem to make it easy for the companies that want to install charging stations, but also to match them with EV drivers and bring the customers to their location, as well as with corporate fleets to obviously optimize how they charge their vehicles while they're back at base. And so also speaking to like the public charging environment, there's a lot, as you said, a lot of companies that roll out ultra rapid charging networks like the Ionity network in Europe. But I think there is still room for way more AC charging in very accessible locations, because not everyone is constantly driving along highways, and when you park your car in an industrial area, not every employer will offer you charging. So if you can use the next door's company's charger and they can monetize it and earn a bit on their investment, then that brings the whole ecosystem together. We're also putting our chargers out into third-party platforms like satellite navigation systems to really make sure that people know where they are, how to find them, how to get there, and use them very efficiently.
Okay, great.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
From the jury, thank you very much. Maybe again to the public's popular questions. Anne-Sophie, are you getting interesting questions on your side? Maybe before you answer me, I see a lot of anonymous questions. So you don't have to tell us who you are, but that would be a fun fact for us, or we could try. If you have an interesting question that Anne-Sophie brings, she might even tell us and mention your name if you had an interesting question. So don't be shy, reveal yourselves. Anne-Sophie, which question would you like to bring from startups to our startups?
So we had a lot of questions about the business model and the differentiation between you and your competitors. But I will take the Ben question. What is the business model to create revenues? And in particular, do you expect to make money from trading electricity? With guarantee price, for example, Carola, can you answer us?
Yes, great question. So our core business model is a subscription-based software as a service model. So the companies that install the charging infrastructure and use our software to monetize and manage their charging stations, they pay us an annual subscription fee. But on top of that, we're looking at other models where we bring revenue into the system, and that is from EV drivers taking a clip, but also further down the track, we will be looking at retail integration, advertising, and really building out a model that is based on very different revenue streams. And because it's an annual subscription fee, this is based on scale, like the more customers we have, and the longer we are in operation, that's where our growth comes from. And that's basically also the reason why we are looking at markets outside of Australia, because in Australia, we are only 25 million people, and that we really want to scale up our business.
Okay, thank you, Carola, for your elaborate answer. And now we're going to go from us to Brazil and from Everty to Everlog. I don't know if it's a coincidence that the two candidates in this category have similar startup names. And Everlog, we will soon hear from the CEO, Rodrigo Favero, in Brazil. But first, a quick video to hear about Everlog, please.
Hi guys, I'm Rodrigo, founder of Everlog. Everlog simplifies supply chain management with a platform that saves money, optimizes visibility, and increases control for shippers in all industries. We have a world-class team with a strong logistic experience. I have been working with TMS since the day of MS-DOS. The problem we solve is the inefficiency in transport for shipper. The cost of this inefficiency affects everyone because the company lose money, and for us, customers, we have a more expensive product. We solve this with a cloud TMS that uses cutting-edge technology to select the best rates and carriers and increase truck.
Okay, it seems you might have a technical glitch here with the sound, which I hope we will be able to solve very quickly. And as I'm sure we will resolve it in the Q&A and get to see. Oh, we're back with sound.
But we can also go faster. And for that, we are raising $500,000. Transport management in Brazil is just the beginning. TMS is a global market and will double in size until 2024. Transport management is hard in most places, but our focus is on Europe, but we also think about China and US. We are very proud to be participate this year. Thank you and see you soon.
Okay, let's just see if we want to play the video again or if Rodrigo wants to tell us what we missed. I need some clarifications now from our headquarters in France. I'm here all alone in Berlin. So what do you suggest? Should we play the video one more time without the technical problem?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can the studio take care of that? Okay, we have a bit of an awkward moment. Let's see if we can solve this problem, or we move on and we take care of it in a moment. Can I get some? Here we go.
Yes, thank you. Hi guys, I'm Rodrigo, founder of Everlog. Everlog simplifies supply chain management with a platform that saves money, optimizes visibility, and increase control for shippers in all industries. We have a world-class team with a strong logistic experience. I have been working with TMS since the day of MS-DOS. The problem we solve is the inefficiency in transport for shipper. The cost of this inefficient affects everyone because the company lose money, and for us, customers, we have a more expensive product. We solve this with a cloud TMS that use cutting-edge technology to select the best rates and carriers and increase truck use, optimize delivery routes, tracking deliveries, and audit all freight payments. In this way, we reduce voids, traffic, and greenhouse gas emission for safer, cleaner, more accessible, more efficient, in short, more sustainable mobility. We have already managed to generate more than 10 million in savings for our customers. We are doing well, but with consistent growth, but we can also go faster. And for that, we are raising $500,000. Transport management in Brazil is just the beginning. TMS is a global market and will double in size until 2024. Transport management is hard in most places, but our focus is on Europe, but we also think about China and US. We are very proud to be participate this year. Thank you and see you soon.
Oops, we got it sorted out. We got the full video with sound this time. Hi, Rodrigo again from Brazil. Where in Brazil are you, by the way?
Come again?
Where in Brazil are you right now?
Oh, São Paulo.
São Paulo, cool. All right, your question from the jury is coming from Jean-Michel Renaud from NG. Jean-Michel, do we have you also on the line?
Yes, I'm online. Hello. Hello, Rodrigo. Okay, thanks for your presentation. I can see a lot of startups coming to supply chain management for very good reason. As you mentioned, there's a lot of cost, high cost, inefficiency, and you try to tackle the whole chain. But what is your specific advantage compared to all your competitors all along this chain? That's what I'm not so sure.
Okay, thank you. Our key competitive advantage is solving transportation problems without the hassle of deploying a common TMS, delivering fast results, greater customer satisfaction, and more affordable costs. We have a disrupt TMS concept for national and international freight management. By combining service and with artificial intelligence, we can deliver more automated and transparent process. Quickly identify overcharge and get refunds, get the best carrier rates, and optimize your supply chain and obtain centralized and mobile supply chain visibility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have the question and the answer from the jury, but the fun part is the audience, in my personal view, no offense. And Sophie, how are things looking in the interactive part of the website?
The main questions coming up from the public is about differentiation. Can you please tell us what differentiates you from the competitors? We have a lot of questions about that. Rodrigo?
Okay. Well, Everlog is a disruptive transport management platform, and our competitors, they are old. And it's difficult for them. We have an ambitious goal to bring shippers, trucking companies, and logistic providers together in one TMS. We use cutting-edge technology to increase the use of trucks and optimize delivery routes. In this way, we reduce voids, traffic, and greenhouse gas emissions for safer and more accessible and more sustainable mobility.
Okay, and Sophie, you're satisfied with the answer?
No, I would like to ask another question.
I was expecting that.
What is the real innovation behind your solution?
Okay. The common TMS is it's a business, it's an old business, and they need technology, they need information. It's difficult to obtain information, and for us, we deliver this more faster and for a more accessible cost.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
And I have a technical problem on my side.
You're on mute, Dan.
We don't hear you.
I don't know what's... Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Okay, excuse me. Something on my side. So we will now switch the vote from the first pair to the second pair of startups. And I invite you now to vote on the second category. We're going to leave the vote once again open for a few minutes. So you can take your time. You can think about your favorite startup. And while you're voting, I think it's time for us to move on to the third category for this startup pitching, which will be multimodal mobility. And the first startup to pitch for multimodal mobility will be e-bikes for Africa. We will hear from Marita Walt, now in Namibia. Before we bring her online, let's see her video pitch.
Hello and welcome to the future of African mobility. My name is Marita Walter, and today I'd like to introduce you to e-bikes for Africa. Sustainable transport has become a growing concern across the globe, and as you can see, my city is no exception. Public transport is almost non-existent, except for the taxi, which, apart from the pollution, noise, congestion, also costs people up to a quarter of their income just to get from A to B. So let me show you what we came up with. Despite shared challenges, the transport ecosystem in Southern Africa is quite unique. And that's why we've designed our electric bicycles to cater to local conditions. Our customizable bikes are 100% powered by the sun. And yes, that's why our bikes are called sun cycles. Of course, our incredible team can attest to this because none of it would have been possible without them. From our workshop manager to our delivery squad, IT and product design who is behind the camera. And of course, we work with a number of incredible business advisors and mentors who unfortunately could not be here today. We offer additional value through the concept of e-hubs, modular solutions in the form of solar-equipped shipping containers that cater to many communal needs, including mobility and electricity. Over the last 5 years, we've created traction in ecotourism, conservation, rural and urban communities, with more than 250 e-bikes across 20 destinations, not only in Namibia, but also South Africa and Uganda. We've also managed to adapt to the corona pandemic and have tailored our services to cater to urban deliveries, employing a pool of riders and delivering more than 500 packages in a matter of 3 weeks. To expand the development of more sustainable mobility solutions in our communities, we are looking for support to set up e-hubs in other Southern African countries. And I invite you to be a part of the African mobility revolution. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you for that video. Marita, can you with us online?
Yes, hello to everyone.
Okay, welcome to our live stream. And your question will come from our member of the jury, Geraldine Pinol from Total. Geraldine, are you also with us?
Yes, I'm with us. Hello, Marita.
Hi, Geraldine.
So thank you for your presentation. This is a very interesting sustainable solar mobility hub. I would have 4 questions. Do you have already any hubs under construction? And how do you handle safety matters, safety risk for the two-wheel mobility? And who are your main customers so far? And at last, what is the level of cost of this solution compared to the other means of mobility that you can find in Africa? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so with your first question, we already have a few hubs located throughout Namibia. Yes, one is here in Windhoek where we are based, and we have one in the north on the border to Angola. These are our two prototype hubs, and they've been proven to be very efficient. Secondly, in terms of safety, we work because we're a very small population. We only have 2 million people in the entire country. So we work with people to take care of our vehicles. It's a very personal contact. We have, when we park a bicycle, we have a lock, but we also have somebody personally on the ground that watches it, like a car watch all over the world. We also fit our bikes with GPS systems for tracking, makes it extra safe. Your third question was about the customers, right? Our customer base so far has been mainly tourism, so ecotourism enterprises, but now due to the corona crisis, we've switched to deliveries, which means our customers are mainly business to business, so other delivery companies that offers goods to be taken around the city, or also business to customers. So we have actually a very broad range of customers, which means that we can cater to many different people in terms of providing e-mobility as a more sustainable alternative. And then your last question was the costs. Yes, it is more cheaper than a taxi and a car. It is not cheaper than walking. Unfortunately, walking and the conventional bicycle, they are the only two things that are actually more affordable, but it is much more sustainable.
So
I hope that answered your questions.
I think you did a brilliant job in getting so much in a minute and a half. Unfortunately, the gong means that you need to stop, but you get another chance to answer another question. And with this, I'm calling back to Anne-Sophie. What is the audience asking? What do they want to know?
Okay, a lot of anonymous question for you, but we have a question about the impact on the local economy and habits. Can you tell us about the job creation, for example, or if people locally have changed their habits in terms of mobility?
Okay, that's a very good question because we struggled a lot with trying to change the mindset. That was our biggest challenge in the beginning, is to get people out of their cars and onto a bicycle. But since the 4.5 years that we've been around, we've really seen that there's a tremendous change in terms of people's habits and that the opportunities that they see in front of them, that is already all over the world booming. As you all know, e-mobility is a very popular form of movement, but it's very new here. So people take a while to catch on. And in this case, we've seen that there is definitely a demand for more sustainable alternatives. I hope I answered the question correctly.
And Sophie, what do you think? Do you want to take another?
Just a word in terms of job creation, for example? Maybe
job creation. Okay. Yes, of course. We're open source. We work on open source quality. So training is a very important part of our business. Training and knowledge transfer. So whenever we deliver an e-bike to somebody, for example, training is an integral part of the business, so that this person can act as a multiplier in his community, not only to tell other people about the benefits of e-mobility, but also to empower people through job creation. So we don't only do that ourselves here in Windhoek, but we also try to create a multiply effect throughout the country.
Just before the gong.
Right before the gong. And I remind you that you're in a duel. This is the third duel that we're going to have, and you're competing against a startup coming from Germany. And here, let's see if we have Firan Hodko from Germany, CEO of Movin'On, on the line with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. So let's see your video pitch, and then we have a chat.
Perfect.
Hey, Movin'On. We have a question for you. When you think of your typical commute, what comes to mind? Is it something like getting in your car in the morning, hoping that you won't get stuck in traffic, and that maybe you'll make that 9 a.m. meeting? But sadly, today is like every other day. You aren't moving, you're getting honked at, and as you lower your window for some fresh air, you get fumes. We are Ono, and we're building a better way. Our goal is to create transformative change in urban mobility, and we're starting with the way goods are delivered in our cities. How are we going to do that? With this, a new category of electric vehicles. Come. So what's so special about Ono? Well, it was co-developed with our customers. It's easy, convenient, safe. And the best part? Weather protection. Weather protection. And look at that, we even have a covered floor. Let's see what else we have in the back. And now check out our modular platform. Within a minute, you can take the units and easily swap them. So what does that mean? In the morning, you could be delivering parcels. Hello, neighbor.
Thank you.
And in the afternoon, my mobile artist workshop that I can take to the park for the people to see. For now, we're helping businesses to move their goods within cities. But in the future, we're going to move people too. Join us. Let's create transformative change in urban mobility together.
Hey, hello, Firan, you're still there?
Yes, I'm here.
I love the weather protection. I have to say, people might think that it never rains in Germany, where I'm also based, but well done. So your question from the jury will come from Jean-Michel Guillon from Michelin Innovation. Jean-Michel, are you with us?
Yes. How are you? I can tell you that I like the concept, and I like also the design of the vehicle. When we take into account the pandemic crisis, we can see an explosion of the last mile delivery, and Ono introduces an interesting and sustainable alternative for the various between the different delivery models. My question is, when we see your video, this is very product centric, and I wonder if your business model is towards the selling of a product, or if you have other elements in mind when you talk to your customers.
Right. Can I start?
Please go ahead.
Great. Thank you for the question. Yes, it is product oriented. We wanted to give people a quick idea of what the singular qualities of the product was, but it's more than that. As I mentioned quickly in the video, we co-developed with our customers, and this being the logistics market, whether it's parcel delivery, food delivery, and others. And our ambition was, or is, not only to create a product, but a whole ecosystem around it. So we're actually producing with tier 1 automotive partners, which enables us to sustain a certain quality and scalability of the vehicle. But on top of that, because of the parts and integrations that were done with the vehicle, we can actually create a whole ecosystem. So an all-inclusive price, which includes maintenance, support, battery swapping, and more.
It's okay.
So thank you for this input. Anne-Sophie, back to you. Any interesting questions out there?
Yes, a lot of questions about the deployment and the fact that you have already or not some customers. So can you give your light on that?
Yeah, so we've been pilot testing with numerous customers over the last 6 to 8 months, and we are set to begin production for the German market in the end of the summer until the beginning of 2021, where we plan to expand internationally. Our whole goal, or what we really want to achieve, is to also master the service ecosystem, so that people not only receive an efficient and flexible solution, but also something that has the quality and reliability that people are accustomed to with automobile products. And at the end of the day, once we reach a certain scale of manufacturing, that we can reduce costs and enter many more markets.
Okay.
How many vehicles? How many
How many
vehicles?
vehicles? What? Sorry.
How many vehicles do you think you will be able to deploy, and which will be the next steps?
Our goal in the next 6 to 8 months is to deploy around 200 vehicles.
Okay, clear.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I guess that means we're back voting. Yeah. Sorry, go on. You still have a few seconds. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, and I was going to say, and also after that, we would develop the additional modules that would allow it to enter in different markets and different segments.
Okay. With that, I guess we have to move on. So I can share with the audience now. You can also see on your screens that over 400 people voted for the previous category, and we will now stop the voting for the previous and switch to multimodal mobility. So now is when you can start voting for these last two pitches, e-bikes for Africa and Ono. We will let it stay for a few more minutes. You can think. We can collect as many votes from around the world as possible. And we're going to take a quick break from the pitching right now. We're going to allow our jury to now go and deliberate on what they've seen in those last 6 pitches and the Q&A. So I invite the jury now to go to your virtual room. You're scattered around the world, but virtually you can now debate and deliberate on what you saw. While the jury is away, we will not leave the viewers alone. And we'll have a very interesting roundtable right now with some of our experts from around the world to tell us a little bit what they think is the future of clean mobility. So for this roundtable, I'm inviting Felipe Matos. He is from Brazil. He is a mentor for acceleration and funding for startups in Latin America. We also have Elba Fuster Figueroa. She is working for the UNDP Global Center for Technology, Innovation and Sustainable Development, and she is based in Singapore. Alexander Verbeek was supposed to be with us, and we send him good get well wishes because he has some issues today, medical issues that he cannot join us. But we do have still Daniel Breton, who is president and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada, and he's joining us from Montreal. And last but not least, Eric Rabb, representing the Movin'On ecosystem. So I would like to kind of leverage the fact that you're based each in a very different part of the world, and maybe ask you to each tell us from your perspective about your continent. I'll start with you, Felipe. When you look at Latin America, what do you see as the main issues, the main trends in sustainable mobility over Latin and South America? Are you with us? Do we have an issue with you? Okay, we can move on maybe to Elba.
Yes, hello.
Okay, maybe you can tell us the same question, but from the Asian perspective. What do you think in your continent are the main issues right now for clean mobility?
So I would say that in the region, one of the major issues is the rapid motorization of cities, which is the major cause for congestion and air pollution. And it's always often combined with obsolete infrastructure or lack of financing to upgrade this infrastructure. So this growing number of motorized vehicles gets even worse and makes the problems even worse. So this is a trend that seems that motorization will increase because when income rises, which is the context of many of the countries in the region, families tend to buy a private motor vehicle because it's more convenient for them, and also it's well seen socially. So I would say that one of the biggest challenges that there is in the region is precisely to change this mindset and also to provide effective and cleaner mobility alternatives to these urban communities so that they use more sustainable solutions and more shared or public instead of private motorized vehicles.
Okay, I understand we had a quick technical issue with Felipe. Do we have him now, or? Okay, until we get him, let's go to Daniel Breton. Do I have him connected with us?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'll ask you a similar question as I said to all of you, but maybe from a North American perspective, what do you recognize as the main trends?
Well, I mean, obviously, when you live in North America, whether it's Canada or the USA, the main problem we have is people are getting into bigger and bigger vehicles. The fashion of SUVs and pickup trucks is a real issue. Now they're more than 2/3 of the sale in North America. So we have more and more traffic congestion. And people, although some people are interested in getting into electric transportation and cleaner transportation, I mean, we're a long way from going to transit, to microtransit, other than a few cities. Another issue, I mean, it's not so much technical as it is from a behavior point of view. I mean, when you're in America, when you're in Canada, I mean, we have huge spaces, huge distances that we want to travel to. Well, except these days with COVID-19. So what happens is that people are really used to get bigger vehicle than they really need. And since we are an integrated market, what happens with the Trump administration is really having an effect on Canada, on the decisions that we're making, and what the car manufacturer, for instance, are supplying to the Canadian and the American market. So these are real issues. And I mean, I've been talking and working on electrification of transportation for 20 years now, and the problems are not so much technical as they are comportamental. So I think that's what we have to look at. Obviously, there's infrastructure issues as well. So we need to have more and more, for instance, charging infrastructures in the downtown areas and the rural areas, because now we're concentrating very much on highways. So I would say these are the main issues.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I'm trying to see now whether the problem with Felipe has been resolved, but until we have them, maybe Eric, I understand you have more of a global, you all have a, sorry, who just answered that they're here? Is it Felipe?
Felipe. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. There was a misunderstanding of where you need to be right now, so apologies to our viewers. And I'm bringing the question back to Latin and South America about what you see as the main issues right now around you. Felipe?
Hello. Well, so I would say that here in Brazil and mostly in Latin America and many other developing countries, we have huge challenges in terms of the efficiency of logistics and transportation at all. And specifically for Brazil, where we really lack on infrastructure on different channels of transportation. So the vast majority of logistics is done on ride roads by trucks. And this, of course, turns out in several problems for both the environment, the cost and time of this process. And I think this is one of the main challenges that we have right now. How do we solve, how do we increase the efficiency of this process of logistics, which is very low at this moment. On the other hand, I would also address the public transportation systems in urban areas. We do have lots of problems around that as well, with a low quality of this public transportation system. And I believe that there are several trends and changes coming in that are positive in that way, but still the infrastructure needs to be really improved if you want to see a better mobility ecosystem at all.
Okay, yeah, go on.
But my view in that sense is that the startups are playing a key role in the development of technology that they were seeing so far. In Brazil, specifically, even the truck trips are being transformed by several startups, which are now connecting and improving and giving some intelligence on the connection between cargo deliverers and the ones who need them, and so on.
Okay, sorry. Well, while you're talking, I'm listening to what you're saying and getting a lot of technical information that you cannot even imagine the level of multitasking here. So from Brazil, I'd like us to go to Eric Grab, who's representing the Movin'On ecosystem, and we'll give you a more of a global view, even though you're all globalists, I'm sure. But as you're speaking here for Movin'On, maybe tell us globally what you see as the main trends.
Yes, hello Dan, hello to everyone. While talking about global view, I think that developing multimodality even further is one of the solutions to manage mobility on a more sustainable way globally, particularly in our European countries, but even worldwide in large cities in general. So in this case, MaaS, as we call them, which is mobility as a service, becomes then a great enabler of this multimodality. But then, until now, we were collectively unable to crack the question of the MaaS business models. Therefore, we will open a community of interest focused on this topic within our Movin'On ecosystem and with the participation of WBCSD, among others, so the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. And now talking about goods transportation, which Felipe just mentioned, which are and will continue, by the way, to be more impactful compared to people transportation, I think that last mile delivery is also a huge challenge. Finding the right places to put urban logistics hubs in place, finding economical models to engage players to share trucks, for example, offering clean and efficient delivery systems. Well, we are just at the beginning of this journey then. And our Movin'On lab in Canada, for example, is following an interesting last mile delivery experimentation with the city of Montreal called Colibri. So many issues, but the good news is that we have a lot of technologies at our disposals and a lot of motivated people around us.
Okay, thank you, Eric. While you were talking, I also kicked off the question to our audience, what they think will be the main trend in their countries. And it's interesting to see that some of their answers are converging with your answers. Some of your answers were also from different continents converging but diverging. So very different approaches and technologies that are emerging here. And I see on the screen now recycling is appearing very big. We have
circular economy is key. You're right.
Absolutely. I suggest that we conclude this roundtable here because I hear that the jury is almost ready. But before we go back to the pitching, I'd like to show you a short video that we've prepared about what we see as some of the main trends. So thank you to our panel for filling this time of the deliberation with very interesting insight that you bring from your very unique perspectives. And now if we can have the short video before we go on to the last 4 pitches for today.
Mobility defines the human race. For millions of years, we have traveled the planet, settling one day, moving on the next. Transport modes have rapidly evolved, increasing in speed, autonomy, reliability. They make us go faster and farther every day. But mobility is not immune to the urgent challenges of this world. More people, more cars, a changing climate. The mobility choices of today will either lock us in congestion and pollution, or they will open the way for new possibilities. Access for all, efficiency, safety, and climate respect. Sustainable mobility for all is not a dream, but it requires a revolution. These 4 goals, mutually reinforcing, will enable people and goods to continue moving better and faster, improving the health, the environment, the lives of billions, and helping stabilize climate change. We see a future of efficient and accessible mass transit, buses that move people quickly through busy cities, trains that levitate, commuters in the air and on waterways. We see solar roadways, electric cars, cars that drive themselves, freight that moves on trains, on boats, in airships. We see real-time traffic communication, a rise in time-efficient movement. We see dedicated bike lanes, bike shares, walking paths, access to jobs, schools, markets, a transportation environment that works for everyone. We all have a stake in this future. We all need to play a role in making it happen. Transforming the world's mobility requires a vision, bold actions, a global coalition. Sustainable mobility for all is not a dream. It is a revolution.
It's not a dream, it's a revolution, as we just heard. And I think with this, we should go back to the pitches and the technological revolutions that we can still expect. So our fourth category right now, as you can see on the screen, is safe, accessible mobility. And once again, we will have a duel. And the first startup in this duel will be Movin'On. And we will have Claudio Laverens, also from Germany, to answer your questions. But first, let's hear what Movin'On does.
Hi, I'm Konstantin. I'm one of the founders of Movin'On. We developed Movin'On Drive, a special steering control for electric power wheelchairs. About 35,000 people in Europe are yearly diagnosed with ALS, MS, who have high spinal cord injuries and are therefore not able to use their hands to control a wheelchair using a normal joystick. Using smart glasses, Movin'On Drive is able to detect people's head movements. These are then translated into driving commands and sent to the wheelchair. Thus, the user can drive hands-free and independently.
When we were building Movin'On Drive, we focused particularly on solving the problems which existing solutions fail to take care of, such as comfortability and intuitiveness. We did really obsess over user experience while building this product. For instance, we have devised special calibration algorithms for the users with the limited head movements so that they can calibrate the device as per their limitations, which is quite different from other solutions. Currently, we are adding more and more products to our portfolio with the vision of empowering people. For instance, we have made software for controlling smartphones, we have made software for controlling computers, also robotic arm controls, and etc. We have also made our hardware in such a way that it is adaptable to almost any electric wheelchairs which are available out there in the market.
The goal behind Movin'On Drive is to provide people who, due to their disability, are overlooked when it comes to getting new technology, getting technology in general, by giving them something smart to give them their freedom, mobility, and independence back.
All right. Hello, Claudio. Are you there?
Hi, I'm there. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you enjoying our production so far?
Very nice, very nice. I'm really enjoying it. It's
Here
so many nice startups.
A few nervous breakdowns behind the scenes, but otherwise, I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself. You ready for your question?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to invite Jonathan Hall from Cantor. Are you also with us, connected?
Yeah. Hi, Dan.
Okay, please address Claudio.
So, hi, Claudio and team. Thank you for your submission, which is remarkable in the challenge you're addressing and truly inspiring. So, my question, how would you describe the impact that you expect your innovation to have on people's lives and on the lives of their friends and families?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. Very important topic. So for us, the impact is already there. We have the product is already live. We have multiple users around the world in Europe, and we're expanding to other countries such as France, which I'm visiting by the end of June, this June, yeah. And it's twofold. So there's one, the accessibility to technology and innovation that allows people to become more integrated, more included into today's society by giving them access to these kind of solutions and technology that we have been using for quite a while now, but they have been kind of left out. And on top of that, it's just giving them the opportunity to be able to be independent. So these are the two things that I would say.
Thank you.
Jonathan, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Dan.
All right. In that case, Anne-Sophie, I haven't heard from you in a while. How are you doing there?
Yes, I've got a trouble with the connection with my mobile. I have a question about can your glasses control anything else than the wheelchair?
Yes, thank you for that question. So the glasses started off like that with being a mode or a joystick for the wheelchair, but right now we can control much more. It became certainly a great platform which connects not only to the wheelchair, but can connect to the phone, to the computer, to your smart home environment. So You are able to switch on lights, turn on the TV, and so on. And we even have it connected to a robotic arm that you saw in the video. So we can control mostly everything related that has an input interface for us.
Okay. And Sophie?
Yes, we also have a question about your customers. Are they individuals or society, companies, hospitals?
Yes, thank you so much. So our customers are twofold. We have the users that are not the paying customers because this product is a medical product. So it's 100% reimbursed already in 3 European countries, and we want to have it reimbursed through all the healthcare systems around the world, which means that the healthcare system is the payer in the end. But even that becomes a bit more complex because we work together with dealers and wheelchair manufacturers to sell it through those companies and entities. So it's a B2B business model.
Okay, and Sophie, you comfortable moving to the next category? Or you still want to interrogate the prototype?
Yes, I think the gong is nearly here, so I think it's okay.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. We're going from Germany to France, and your competitor is going to be Envibe. We will hear in a moment from Charlie Gallet, the CEO, but let's first find out what Envibe does.
Imagine walking on the street. Nothing to it, really, if you're sighted. But now imagine what a visually impaired person sees. You can clearly understand how important the sound of your surrounding is. To know there's a person next to you, or if it's safe to cross the road. Now, what would happen if you were to cover these very useful audio cues by listening to a GPS?
Head north on Rue Nicolas Appert toward Allée Verte. Proceed for 700 meters.
That's what we want to avoid at Envibe. Hi, my name is Charlie. I'm the CEO and founder of Envibe. I created Envibe to bring safe navigation to the blind and visually impaired. By transforming the audio information of the GPS into vibration, we free our users' ears so they can focus on the dangers of the road. Our product, the 2 smart bands that I'm wearing right now, are the first haptic GPS for the blind and visually impaired. So how does it work? All you need to do is to enter your destination in the dedicated app Envibe and to let yourself be guided by the vibration. Before each intersection, the app will send a Bluetooth signal to the smart bands and will indicate to the user whether they should turn left or right. Our product, particularly well suited for users with a guide dog, will let them know in advance and give them time to tell the dog where to go. It is also well suited for users with a wide cane. But don't take my words for it and listen to Grégoire and Cyril talk about how Envibe changed their lives.
Bonjour à tous, alors moi je m'appelle Grégoire. Bonjour, moi je m'appelle Cyril Monin. Je suis déficient visuel de naissance. Avant je cherchais une adresse, j'étais obligé de demander à quelqu'un. Maintenant je gagne du temps, de l'autonomie, j'ai plus besoin de demander. Et depuis qu'Envibe est sorti, on va dire que la vie a complètement changé. Ouais, ça a vraiment changé beaucoup de choses, vraiment voilà, je peux que vous le conseiller.
I hope you like the project. Now I'll let my non-virtual self answer your questions. Thank you.
So hello to the non-virtual version of Charlie.
Hello everyone. Non-virtual, actually virtual, but
yeah, I would
yes.
say you're still
Hello,
quite
everyone.
virtual to me. We're in different countries, but you're ready for your question from the jury.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. So do we have Dorothée Julien from BNP Paribas connected with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey.
Hello, Charlie. Hello.
Hello, Dorothy.
Hello, Charlie. Thanks for your video. It was very clear and find it very great to have these testimonies from your users. And my question is on these users, could you please tell us how many users do you have right now and how many do you target? And maybe explain also your business model.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the question. So we recently launched our product in France. For now, we've got around 100 clients as we speak, and our business model has been built to encourage users to give us feedback. Basically, we're building a community, and by giving us information on how they use the product, we basically improve the app. And it's a very collaborative project. And as a result, our business model is a subscription-based service, and it includes obviously access to the app, lease of the smart bands themselves, and access to the community. We're also working with local for instance, right away companies like SNCF to accompany our customers in indoor geolocation places.
Okay, and how much is it? How much is the subscription?
So the subscription is around 20 euros a month, and it covers all the things that I said, smart bands, and the access to the application.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess if Dorothy is satisfied with the answer, that brings us back to Anne-Sophie in the mission headquarters. What are you seeing in questions from the audience?
Yes, we have question about the market size.
Yes.
And to know if the technology could be applied to other uses than the one you mentioned first.
Great questions. So, well, first of all, the little known fact is basically the population of the blind and visually impaired only in Europe is about 15 million people. And of these 15 million people, actually a lot of people are unemployed, about twice or three times the rate of the general population. So by using your product, we're basically helping blind and visually impaired people to be more independent. And we're also working with companies such as Yves Rocher to make easier basically doing the daily tasks of their job. There's also indeed a lot of other use for our product. For instance, we're looking into the market for bikes, which is something that is really appropriate considering the mobility of that particular challenge. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Charlie.
And Sophie?
Yeah?
Anything else, or should we go and vote?
No, I think it's okay.
It's time for vote.
Thank you very much.
Time for vote.
This time
Thank
it's
you, Charlie.
France. So I invite you to go ahead and vote for the last two pitches for the category of accessibility. Safe and accessible mobility was the exact category. And from this, we're moving to our fifth and last category. The vote will remain open for the next few minutes. While you were listening to the last category, you can still go ahead and vote. And while you're voting, I would like us to move to the last fifth category, global warming and air pollution. How do we fight it? The first startup to pitch is coming from the US. You will forgive me if I don't pronounce the name of the CEO correctly, but it's Lyubov Artemenko, CEO of Go2You. Lyubov, are you there?
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Was my pronunciation more or less correct?
Yes, amazing.
Fantastic. So I suggest we take the 2 minutes to watch your video on what Go2You does.
Go2You is driven by idea to reduce carbon footprint by facilitating the adoption of electric vehicles. Our mission is to deliver a flawless EV charging experience with comfort, confidence, and simplicity. With our mobile application, drivers can easily find the closest charging spot and navigate the trip according to the needs and preferences. Book charging station at the most convenient time, plus book and pay for the services at the charging spot. Hotels, restaurants, cafes, shopping centers, all these businesses can benefit from our EV charging management system, which comes together with location-based marketing tools, helping to boost customer experience and loyalty. We are targeting retail and hospitality businesses with EV charging stations on the site, offering our software as a service solution for $60 per month per business location. We tested and validated our solution with over 100 businesses. Currently, we are mapping 60,000 charging spots globally, and last month, our mobile application was used over 20,000 times. Our team is made of successful entrepreneurs and the experts in automotive EV charging infrastructure development, and a very strong team of IT engineers with accumulated 40 years experience in running complex IT projects. Together, we went through Impact Connected Cars and Textiles Accelerator programs, benefited from the EBRD and the European Union funds, and had a successful pilot with Volkswagen in Dresden. We are growing and looking for new investors and partners. Join us today and go green with Go2You.
Go green with Go2You. Are you still there, Lyubov?
Yes, hello.
Okay, where are you, by the way, right now? We're in the US?
No, currently I'm with our R&D team in Europe, and due to coronavirus outbreak, we had to relocate very fast from the Texas Accelerator program, which was held in Italy. So yes, a lot of moving.
Where are you right now? Where are you calling us from?
From Lviv, Ukraine.
Okay. And are you ready for your question?
Yes.
Okay, so for your question, I'd like to invite Remy Potet from Paris Business Angels. Remy, are you with us?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome to our
with you
show.
all. Thank you, and thank you, Yomo, for your nice presentation. I don't see any major barrier to entry in this market area, and you will probably face a very strong competition. And my question is, how do you plan to make your offer unique and to build differentiation from existing and future competitors?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for this question. So GoToYou has a unique value proposition because we are the only platform on the market which introduced booking features. So traveling with our mobile application, drivers can not only find charging station or pay for charging process, drivers can actually book charging station in advance, and thus they can avoid the range anxiety, the queues at the charging spots, or any misunderstandings with the other drivers who come to the same locations. And on top of that, they can also avoid the experience anxiety because charging can take up to 2 hours. So we make charging really enjoyable process, offering drivers to book a table at the restaurant or a hotel room or even spa services. And it's all in one mobile application, so it's really convenient. On the other hand side, that our business customers we are working with, they can benefit from our EV charging management system, which helps them to fully control EV charging. But on top of that, they have an amazing communication channel with the EV drivers community, so they can actually promote and sell directly to the EV drivers the products and services. This is a win-win situation, and we see lots of potential cooperation here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if Remy is satisfied with the answer,
Yes.
I suggest Anne-Sophie, I've missed
Yes.
you. It's been a while that we haven't spoken.
So a question from Mary in the audience. Thank you, Mary, for the question. What is your business model and how do you see you in 2 years? How do you see GoToYou in 2 years?
Yes, so GoToYou is the software as a service driven platform. So our main revenue stream comes from the subscription model. We charge business location per month per charging station on their location. And on top of that, of course, we generate revenues through all micro payments for both reselling electricity, but also from cross sells. And that brings us really extra revenue streams. So not like only our competitors are focusing on reselling electricity, we are having our margin on every booking that the drivers do through the mobile application. In 2 years' time, we really see ourselves a global platform. We are already global, working with many customers all around the world, but we really see ourselves as a one-stop shop for all EV drivers. And we, as a platform, we really want to bring together different actors so we can effectively target this very fragmented EV charging market. So here we talk about not only retail, hospitality businesses with EV charging stations on the side, but also OEMs and charge point operators together with utilities. We are really open for cooperation, and we believe that our unique reservation technology can help both.
Well,
Thank you.
That was a very full answer. Anne-Sophie, we have time for more?
No, I think the gong is nearly here. So
The
it's
famous
okay.
dog is nearly there, so thank you very much to you both. And we will now go to the very last pitch in the last category. From a US-based company, we'll cross the border to a Canadian-based company, and we will hear from Kostya Kumotov. You're not making my life easy with the pronunciation here. And you are the CEO of G Batteries. Do we have Kostya on the line? Okay, while we get Kostya on the line, let's get the video of what G Batteries does.
Today, lithium-ion batteries are limited in how quickly they can be charged. The main reason manufacturers put these limits in place is because of battery health. The faster a battery is charged, the faster it degrades. A battery is an electrochemical device in which lithium ions travel from the cathode to the anode through various materials, and vice versa. Fast charging a battery using conventional methods, such as CCCV, causes damage through various degradation mechanisms, including SEI layer growth, metal plating, and electrolyte decomposition. At G Batteries, we're not developing new materials or changing the battery chemistry. We've developed an innovative way to charge batteries using our adaptive pulse charge algorithm through real-time monitoring that dynamically changes each pulse. Through this adaptive approach, we're able to dramatically reduce irreversible chemical reactions that cause degradation. The technology is composed of two parts, software and hardware. The software protocol is self-learning and fully adaptive. It analyzes what's happening inside the battery and changes each pulse size, shape, and periodicity so that each pulse is unique. The novel hardware precisely generates the specific waveforms required and pushes them into the battery. We're revolutionizing the way batteries are charged. G Batteries has the only demonstrated technology capable of ultra-fast charging without compromising battery cycle life.
Okay, excuse me. Do we have Kostya connected with us now?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, hi Kostya, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good, thank you. You are in Canada, aren't you?
We are in Canada, yes.
Which side? Which coast? How early is it on your side?
We are on the East Coast. We are in Ottawa, in the capital, so it's not that early. It's actually 9:40 a.m.
Okay, sounds good. So your question will come from the same continent. Your question, I'd like to invite Carlos Diaz from the refiners on the other coast in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Carlos, are you with us?
Yes, hello. Hi, everybody. Same continent, but not the same coast. So I'm on the West Coast, and it's much earlier here. Hi, Kostya. Very nice presentation. I would like to remind every startup that when you pitch your startup, it's not only about the solution, it's not only about your product, it's also about your team. And the team behind the product and the technology is sometimes more important than anything else. So, and also the size of the market and the business model. We had a lot of questions about business model. So please, Kostya, can you tell us a little bit more about the team and who are you and how do you envision, this market business opportunity and market size?
Yes, of course. I'll try to squeeze in 2 minutes and a half or whatever time I have. So
1.5.
We have over 30 years of battery management experience within our organization. I myself an aerospace engineer by education, but turned to the dark side of business about 15 years ago. Most important person in our organization is the technical director and the chairman of the organization by the name Bart Riley, who is the original founder of a company called A123 Systems. A123 Systems is probably the only company in the last decade that has successfully commercialized battery chemistry at the scale that they are today. He is arguably one of the strongest battery experts in the world, and his words are that we are one of the most exciting battery companies out there today. So perhaps that will add a bit of the context on where we are and how we are being validated on the market of batteries. How we see in the size of the market and where we are today, we are aiming, our mission, our vision is to enable electrical vehicles to charge as fast as it takes to fill up a tank of gas. And we believe that this is one of the biggest barriers today that stops people from mass adoption of electrical vehicles. Our mission by enabling those vehicles to charge that fast, and although it's a very ambitious goal and it will not come in the next couple of years, it's a very challenging task to take on. We believe once we are deployed in electrical vehicles, we'll be able to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by replacing internal combustion engines with electrical vehicles.
And that was our cruel gong.
And that was perfect.
Is actually up. You want to finish your sentence?
No. That was the dot.
Okay, brilliant. And that means that we're going from San Francisco back to France to my colleague Anne-Sophie. I have good and bad news, Anne-Sophie. It's the last time you have to skim through the questions and bring the best ones. It's the last startup. So what have you got for us?
It's hard, but we have lots of questions about technology for this time. And two questions for you, Kostya. How do you manage batteries life cycle? And the second one is, have you something patented, protected, any improvement in speed of battery recharging? People on the audience say that Musk is already here. So what is your innovation?
Of course. Yes, thank you for the questions. Yes, so regarding the IP protection, so we have filed over 45 patent applications. We have an extremely strong IP portfolio. We've been around for about 8 years now working on this solution. And this is exactly the IP and the core of our innovation is to be able to charge faster without compromising the life. So what we do is, as the video has demonstrated, we analyze the battery in real time, and we determine the internal state, the internal resistance of the battery. The analogy that I usually bring, if you fill up a room of people and ask all of them to run through the same door all at the same time, you can only imagine what's going to happen. That's what happens today in the batteries. What we do is we analyze the traffic of people through the door, which is ions flowing inside of the battery, and we determine how many we can send at any given time. So it's pulse charging of the battery with each and every pulse being different in size, shape, and form that enables us to operate at a very low resistance of the battery cell, which enables us to put less stress on the battery and extend the life of the battery at the same time. Fast charge, long life, and a very strong IP portfolio. And I'm not going to comment on Musk.
Not comments on Musk. He also plants missiles to space, not only cars.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the last vote we had, and they're still voting, almost 500 people actually voted for the last pair. I think we have to break that vote now and go for the last duel of voting, which is starting right now. So for the last category of global warming and air pollution, you can start voting now. We're going to leave it for a few minutes, but not for too long, because what's going to happen now, we're going to send our judges again to deliberate on the last 4 startups that they just heard from. So we invite the judges to leave us for a few minutes. You, the audience, can still vote, and we will let them know what you voted and what the results were real time so that they can take it into account as they make their final decisions. Okay, Anne-Sophie, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think the jury leave the room to make the final deliberation now. And I will talk about the prize.
Let's talk about. So what will the winners receive?
The reward for the 5 winners from the final will be a 2-day invitation for the 2021 edition of the Movin'On Summit. Is still a secret, but it will take place in Montreal. No secret for that. But from June the 1st to June the 3rd. It will be a unique opportunity for the startups to present their innovative solution to the various diverse players in sustainable mobility. Institutions, cities, investors. We also have large companies, and they will showcase their prototypes. So 5 tickets for the 5 winners. But that's not all. In 2 months, everything has changed, as you know, thanks to the COVID or because of the COVID. So have we. This year, Movin'On Startup Challenge will not focus only on these happy few winners, only 5, but on a whole community of front-runner startups working on sustainable mobility. Each of the 42 startups originally selected to join us in Montreal will benefit from a tailor-made e-coaching with the Solar Impulse Foundation. We will talk about that in a minute with Alexandra. They will also win a debriefing of their pitch by Carlos Diaz, so member of our jury and famous investor in the Silicon Valley. But there is more. There is even more. In addition to the visibility on our digital Movin'On ecosystem, The 10 finalists will also benefit from personalized support through skill sponsorship from all our partners, incubation or acceleration programs, dedicated meetings with our key partners or experts from our network. So a very huge thanks to them. They have all mobilized in a record time to make this special edition a success. So I just want to say thank you so much.
I'm applauding alone. It's a bit sad, but this is the digital version. So I'm alone to applaud, but I'm sure, Anne-Sophie, that the audience watching us is also applauding. Anne-Sophie, will you invite me to moderate the physical one in Montreal?
I hope so. You will be there.
Now I have thousands of people watching us, and you're committed. So I'll make you sign that right after the show. But you mentioned Solar Impulse, and you mentioned the coach session. And yes. I'd like to pick up on that and invite Alexandra Baracon from Solar Impulse. Can she join us now?
Yes, Alexandra.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Alexandra. Where are you joining us from? We've had people from every continent, but where are you?
I'm in Arlington, Virginia, next to Washington, D.C.
Ah, okay. You're also in the U.S. Things are quite tense here around you these days. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about your coaching session. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit on what Anne-Sophie just told us. What is this coaching going to be all about?
So the coaching session, it's a special workshop we organize for the startuppers. And the goal is to help them, support them in filling in the application for the Solar Impulse label. At Solar Impulse, we have this challenge of gathering 1,000 efficient solutions that can be both profitable and good for the environment. And for that, to select them, we created the label. And we are going to help the 42 startups to apply for this label in the best possible condition, supported by a coach, an individual coach that will take them through each question and support them in putting their solution in context in the best way possible.
Okay, and I understand that you're providing services not only to the 10 finalists, but the 42 finalists. So yes. What kind of value and opportunities do you think this will provide them with?
First, the coaching is really helping to maximize chances to get the label and to also go deeper into the explanation of the impact of the solution and the business case and the economic profitability for the clients that we look at in the selection process for Solar Impulse. And secondly, the goal then is to be labeled an efficient solution by Solar Impulse, to join the portfolio of the 1,000, and we offer a wide range of different benefits to all the solutions that are labeled, like visibility, credibility, also matchmaking services to meet interesting partners or potential clients. That's a range of services that we offer for free to all the labeled solutions at Solar Impulse.
That's very interesting. And how do you select these companies? What are the criteria to get this label of Solar Impulse?
So we look for solutions. They can be products, processes, services, technologies. They have to be technically credible. They have to be technically scalable. They also have to demonstrate that they are improving the state of the environment compared to the status quo. So they build a case study explaining how they are making the impact on the planet better. And lastly, we want them to be profitable, both for the client with purchasing the solution or using it, but also that the company will be able to generate profits commercializing the solution over 5 years. So that's the main criteria that our volunteer experts look at when they evaluate a solution.
So I have a suggestion. We still have a few minutes until the jury, including your colleague Bertrand Picard, is coming back from their deliberations. Maybe we can get the audience on our interactive system to ask questions. Maybe Anne-Sophie can bring us more. Anne-Sophie, do you want to join this conversation?
Yes, we can try to do that.
This is spontaneous, tackling you spontaneously and asking you to do something that was not in the script. So no panic. Let's see if we manage. Otherwise, we drop it.
No,
3 more minutes here now. 3 more minutes for the jury until they come back and we get the final results, the winners of this year's edition. 3 more minutes to bear with us and we'll know who the winners are. Anne-Sophie?
Yes, so I try to look at the question. Online.
Let's do it with you. Bring your own, or let's see, what have we got there?
Maybe I have a question for Eric Grab and for the startuppers in general. We had a question that the previous sessions about the fact that we are talking a lot about electric battery, but do you think we could have another technology helping us to move forward to better sustainable mobility?
Well, you know, electric batteries are currently the solution. We'll have other solutions which are also electric, by the way, through hydrogen. And we are working a lot, as you know, in our ecosystem Movin'On on hydrogen and all the potentialities of hydrogen.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about the solution and when will we be able to develop or to deploy these kind of things to the audience?
Well, I think it's a good question. We won't be able to develop immediate solutions, so in the 2 or 3 years coming. But with Thisyear, for example, and other key players, we are developing fuel cells through a company called Symbio. And I advise you to join us in these communities of interest, focus on the hydrogen potentialities to learn more. But let's say that all what we have seen today, focusing on mainly on batteries, is quite good as an approach, because for the next future, I mean, in the next 5 years, we will have to rely on electrical batteries. So I think your choice, the startup choices, were quite relevant.
Okay. Daniel, are you still online with us from Montreal? And would you like to add something? Do you see something new from the other side of the ocean? I don't know if Daniel is still there.
Daniel's still there. Meanwhile, maybe I can tell you, I pushed back live the question we asked our audience about the technology that they find most effective in the next 10 years. So you can still go on and tell us. And I think it's interesting, especially when you look at the word cloud, how EV and hydrogen, solar are the main ones that are coming up. I would say it's even bigger if people spell it the same way, because our artificial intelligence doesn't converge them when they're spelled differently. But that I find is quite an interesting trend. I don't know if anybody wants to react on that. The electricity is all over the place. E-bikes, e-cars, electric cars. Yeah, I would say this is what emerges from my perspective from our audience. 76 have answered the question so far. Can we still bring someone from the roundtable or the jury to participate in the discussion? Or okay, I hear now that the jury is ready.
Yeah, perhaps just one comment.
Yes.
The question was focusing on technologies, and as you can see, and you just said it, Dan, there is a kind of convergence on the future technologies which will be implemented. So the key question tomorrow will be to develop innovative business models, and we have seen that today. A lot of these new technologies should find the right business models, and that's why we have to work a lot together, because you know, as we said yesterday and the day before, and how Florent Menegaux, our CEO, repeated it. Together we are stronger, but also smarter. And the question of the business model is not obvious at all. And by the way, most of the jury members ask questions about business models to the startups. So yes, it's a difficult question. Yes, it's a real challenge. So that's one of our goals within the Movin'On ecosystem, just for you to understand.
To be sustainable, to be profitable. We're not here for charity. We're looking for sustainable and profitable businesses.
Yeah, if you are not profitable, you won't be sustainable.
That makes sense to me. Now, I hear some rumors that the jury is back, but I need confirmation of whether we can. Okay, they are ready. Before I invite them back to tell us who the winners are, let us just take a very quick moment to recognize those who made today possible. This was not easy. I have to tell you, it's much more complicated than it might look. So let us just thank first at the technical level, the companies and the colleagues that helped us make this happen at Michelin, Agorize, and Microsoft. But of course, that's just at the technical level. Anne-Sophie showed you the slide with all the different companies that were involved. And of course, the Movin'On lab, which helped us assembling the jury and the prizes. Now, with this in mind, can I invite back our two co-presidents of the jury, Karima and Bertrand? to announce the winners. Do we have you? Dima, are you there?
I'm here.
Fantastic. Well, suspense, I can tell you that all the startups are dying to know if they won and what was your decision. I also got a hint that you had some heated debates. But without further ado, please tell us about the winner in the first category of resources, Karima.
The first category, the winner is
Okay, we have 5 minutes. I'm not sure if I heard you answer. Who was the winner for the first pick? Okay, Karima, can you tell us again the winner?
I'm sorry. Yes, do you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, the first category only. Who was the winner?
The winner is great. Is Adunix startups. Congratulations.
Adunix, Mazal Tov Israel. Well done. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. We even hear them. That's pretty cool. Okay. Second category, we turn to you, Bertrand, global transport efficiency. Who is the winner?
Absolutely. We have the choice between logistic management and charging EVs. And we think that it's very important to give a push to the EV vehicles. So although we have to say that the pitch was not very good, that it was difficult to understand what they are doing, but we chose Everty.
All right, congratulations, Everty. This is not the easiest jury, the most professional jury. And we go to the third category of multimodal mobility. Back to you, Karima. We haven't spoken in a while. Who is the winner for the third category, please?
The winner is Ono Better Last Mile Delivery. I'm very proud about this startup because we talk about sustainable urban mobility and a specialized bag. So congratulations of Ono startups, really.
Thank you very much.
Bravo, Ono. And we are moving to the next category of safe and accessible mobility. Back to you, Bertrand.
Yes, we wanted both to be winners in their category. It's true that it brings a lot of passion when you speak of tetraplegic people or blind people, but we decided to focus on the highest number of people who would benefit from this innovation, and this is the blind people. So we voted for N-Vibes.
Okay, N-Vibes, congratulations. Do we hear their voice?
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you.
That's great. Thank you.
Félicitations. All right. And the fifth category of combating global warming and air pollution, a huge topic these days. Are we back to Karima with the answer?
The last but not the least, the winner is G Battery. And congratulations because your speech was very clear and your message, we need this innovation for the future when you talk about electric mobility. So congratulations, really.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've just announced the winners of all 5 categories. Congratulations to all of you. Before we conclude, I'd like to invite once again Nicolas Beaumont, spokesperson of Movin'On, to say a final word about what you've just experienced here. Nicolas, are you with us?
Yes, it was really a great experience, Dan. Congratulations again to the Movin'On Startup Challenge participants and especially to all the winners. Be assured that the Movin'On ecosystem will be with you in your endeavor. You are part now of the Movin'On family. We really hope to see you at the Movin'On Summit that will take place in Montreal at McGill University on June 1st, 2nd and 3rd, 2021. So thank you, bye-bye, take care, and now back to Dan for the final words.
Thank you, Nicolas, and thank you all for being with us. As I said, this was not an easy experience, and I just launched the last survey for today, which is asking you, what did you think and how did you like today's event? So please do vote and rate so that we have an idea of how you felt. I would say you can also use the questions if you have remarks for us to think about how to make it better, even though next year, hopefully, we will be in Montreal. And don't forget that the Movin'On adventure is not over. So over the next weeks and months, there will be more gatherings, more virtual events. And in order to find out about them, just follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Find out more on what's happening. The adventure continues. Other than that, let me thank everybody who's made this production possible, the jury, the startups, the technical partners, everybody who was part of this big production. From me, Dan Sobowitz, thank you for being with us. See you in Montreal next year, and keep moving from ambition to action. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.